The priest asked if anyone objected. My sister stood up. I object, Sofia said. Adrian and I have been together for 18 months. She was never his choice. I turned to Adrian. He didn't deny it. The ring on my finger spun loose when I curled my hand. I took it off, set it on the altar step, walked out of the church in my wedding dress with the March wind cutting through the lace and my sister's voice still saying my name behind me like I hadn't heard. 18 months of quiet dinners. 18 months of closed doors and whispered calls I told myself were business. Every single one of them was her. 3 weeks later, a man with a scarred neck parked outside my mother's gate and started asking questions about the Valenti wife who'd disappeared. Adrian had told me he was marrying me because he loved me. He never told me the truth about what I was, a decoy for a woman who wasn't me. And he never warned me what happens to a decoy when the people who are watching realize she knows less than they think. If you've ever loved someone who let you become the story instead of telling you the truth, you already know why his silence at that altar was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. If you've ever been the safe choice while someone else got to be the one they truly wanted, tell me where you're watching from. You're not the only one who's been there. I met Adrian Valenti 2 years ago. I was a contract translator, Spanish and Italian, mostly legal documents and import ledgers. A small firm placed me at Valenti Enterprises for a 6-month deal. A shipping conglomerate, that's what the paperwork said. I knew what it actually was. Everyone in the city knew. But the pay was good and the work was clean, and I told myself that was enough distance. Adrian signed my contract. He was tall, precise, wore tailored suits and spoke in complete sentences. The first time we had dinner, a working dinner, reviewing a Portuguese shipping contract, he noticed I was translating numbers in my head. "You do that with every language," he said, "or just the ones you haven't been paid for yet?" I laughed. I didn't laugh often around men like him. The dinners became something else. He told me he had to be careful because of who his family was. I understood. What I didn't understand was why he wanted me at all. I had no family name, no connections, no value to the organization. "You're the only person I don't have to be a Valenti around," he said. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I didn't know yet how much of what I believed was a lie. If stories about love built on secrets keep you watching, subscribe to Raven Vow. You'll want to see how mine ends. The proposal came 6 months in. No ring yet. Just his hand on mine across a restaurant table. "Marry me." I said yes. He kept the engagement quiet. No announcement, no family dinner, no meeting with his father. "Mafia heirs don't broadcast their wives," he said. I told myself that was caution. I told myself a lot of things. Sofia helped me pick the dress. She flew in from Milan for the fitting, fashion buyer, international accounts, a calendar that looked like a flight log. We were close in the way sisters are when one of them is always away. Long phone calls, inside jokes, the comfortable lie that distance hadn't changed anything. "You're sure about him?" she asked, standing behind me while the seamstress pinned the hem. "I'm sure." She met my eyes in the mirror. "Good. Because you deserve someone who sees you." I didn't understand what she meant until later. Adrian kept his phone face down on every surface. His desk at home had a locked drawer. I noticed. I never asked. The week before the wedding, I was in his study looking for a pen when Sofia came to the door. "Does he still keep that photo in his desk?" I said I didn't know what photo. "The one from Milan. The hotel rooftop." She laughed. "Men. They never put things away." I didn't ask to see the drawer. I let the moment pass. The Milan receipt I found 3 days later. I was packing Adrian's bag. The receipt was in his jacket pocket. Hotel Principe di Savoia, Milan, 6 months ago. 6 months ago Sofia was in Paris. She told me she was in Paris. She sent me a photo from a patisserie. The receipt said she was in Milan. I folded it back. I didn't confront him. I put the jacket in the bag and zipped it and told myself there was an explanation. The ring arrived 2 days before the wedding. Adrian slid it onto my finger at dinner. It's fun. It's a little loose, I said. I'll have it resized. He didn't write it down. He didn't measure my finger. He just said it and moved on. At the dress fitting, Sofia held my hand and looked at the ring. Pretty, she said. Then she laughed. Same size as mine. You've got my hands. She said it like a joke. I looked at the ring on my finger, the gap between metal and skin, the way it turned when I moved my hand. I thought about a ring bought in advance, sized for someone else, given to me as an afterthought. I didn't say anything. The night before the wedding, I passed Adrian's office. The door was cracked. He was on the phone. The Vitale problem is Sofia. She can't walk into a hotel lobby in Milan without half the room knowing who she's connected to. I heard my name. Something about the wedding. About me being safe. Then his voice caught, just once, just barely, like a different sentence had started and he'd swallowed it, before he went on in the same flat, controlled tone he always used for business. I walked back to bed and told myself the catch in his voice was exhaustion. I told myself he was protecting us both. I was right about one thing. He was protecting someone. The morning of the wedding, I stood at the back of the church. Sofia adjusted my train. I love you, she said, kissing my cheek. I love you too. I walked down the aisle. Adrian watched me with an expression I couldn't read. The priest spoke. The vows were said. I said mine. Then, if anyone can show just cause why this couple cannot lawfully be married, speak now, or forever hold your peace. Sofia stood up. I object. Adrian and I have been together for 18 months. She was never his choice. Ask him. I turned to Adrian. He didn't deny it. His jaw worked once, like a word had gotten halfway out before he stopped it, and then he looked at his shoes. I took off the ring, set it on the altar step, walked out of the church. Nobody followed me. My mother's house was 30 minutes outside the city. I took a cab. The driver kept looking at me in the rearview mirror, a woman in a wedding dress with no groom, no bouquet, no explanation. I didn't give him one. I sat on her couch in my wedding dress until the fabric was cold and stiff. She didn't ask. She brought me tea and a blanket and sat beside me in silence, the way mothers do when they know the question would break you. Sofia called 17 times. I let every call go to voicemail. Adrian didn't call once. Not once. That told me more than any explanation could have. A week later, I started rebuilding. A former client offered me a translation contract, Spanish-Portuguese customs documents, remote work, 2 weeks. I took it. The night before I started, a man I didn't recognize stopped me outside my mother's house. I'm one of Adrian's men, he said. There's been a car circling the block for 4 days. They're asking questions about the Valenti wife who left the church alone. Who? He didn't say the name. They don't know you don't know anything. They assume Adrian's wife knows what Adrian knows. That makes you valuable. I called Adrian for the first time since the altar. Where are you? In my mother's kitchen. Because you didn't tell me I was being hunted before you put a ring on my finger. The Vitale family, he said. They've been trying to find a leak in our supply chain for 2 years. Sofia was the one who carried the documents. Her travel was the cover. When they got close, I needed someone who looked like the right wife. Someone disposable. Someone who could take the attention while the real asset, his real lover, stayed hidden. You should have told me. Would you have said yes? No. That's why I didn't. Those 3 weeks at my mother's house were the longest of my life. I woke up every morning and remembered the betrayal fresh, not in a wave, but in pieces. The ring. The silence. Sofia's voice. Adrian's shoes. I replayed every dinner, every closed door, every phone call that went quiet when I walked into the room. The pattern had been there the whole time. I had chosen not to see it. I stopped waiting for an apology that wasn't coming. I stopped checking my phone. I stopped hoping Adrian would appear at my mother's door with an explanation that somehow made it right. I found an apartment 3 weeks later. A studio above a bookshop in the old quarter. Small, cheap, mine. My name on the lease. No Valenti money touched it. No Valenti name was mentioned. A car appeared on my new street the first night. Not the same one, an older car, less noticeable. It parked at the corner and stayed until dawn. I didn't call. I didn't wave. I watched from my window, and it watched the street. But I noticed my landlord didn't ask for a cosigner. I noticed the bookshop owner started leaving the side entrance unlocked at night. I noticed. I built a rhythm. Coffee at the bookshop downstairs every morning. The owner, a quiet woman named Isa, learned my order by the 3rd day. Work at my desk until the light shifted. Dinner alone. A walk along the river when I couldn't sleep. I started sleeping more than 4 hours a night. I stopped opening my phone expecting a message that wasn't there. The car stayed at the corner every night. I stopped checking for it. That was how I knew I was starting to heal, not because the threat was gone, but because I had learned to live beside it. 2 weeks into the contract, an email changed everything. A former colleague from Valenti Enterprises, someone I'd worked with on the original import deal, had heard what happened. She wrote to say she was sorry. And she wrote to say the Sofia situation had been an open secret in the executive office for over a year. Everyone knew. The assistants who made her coffee. The executives who approved her travel. The security desk that logged her after-hours visits to Adrian's floor. I'd walked past that desk 100 times. The guard always smiled at me. He knew. Everyone except the woman who was supposed to be the bride. That was the night I finally cried, not the composed, dignified kind I'd been managing since the church, but the kind that comes up from somewhere lower and bends you over the bathroom sink and won't let you stand up straight. I still had the wedding dress hanging in my closet. I hadn't been able to throw it away or give it back. I took it down that night and pressed the fabric against my face and screamed into it until my throat gave out, because I needed something to absorb the sound, and the dress was the only thing in the apartment that had been part of the lie from the beginning. When it was over, I sat on the floor with it in my lap like something I'd killed, and for the first time since the altar, I let myself feel exactly how small he had made me without ever once raising his voice. My mother called that night. She didn't ask about the wedding or the betrayal. She just said, "Are you eating?" And I laughed for the first time in weeks, because that was my mother. She couldn't fix the broken pieces, but she could make sure I was fed. I closed the laptop. My hands were cold. I walked to the window and pressed my palm flat against the glass. The cold of it brought me back. The car was still there. Same corner, same dark shape in the evening light. For the first time, I didn't feel watched. I felt seen. Not by Adrian. By the cold, humiliating truth that I had been the last person to know what my own life was made of. Every dinner, every whispered call, every closed door, I had supplied my own explanations because the real one was too painful to consider. The man with the scar found me on a Tuesday. I was coming back from the grocery store. He was standing outside my building. Catalina Mendoza. I'm not here to hurt you. Tell me what Adrian Valenti was moving through Milan last year, and I'll make sure your name disappears from the file. I don't know what he was moving. I translated invoices. I never read the cargo manifests. But you saw them. I saw names, dates, quantities. I didn't ask what they meant. He studied me. You really don't know anything. No. That's a shame. He pressed a card into my hand. If you remember something, call me. Before the people who sent me lose patience. And be careful who you say that to twice. In this business, being useless is the only thing that keeps you breathing. He walked away. I stood in my doorway with a bag of rice and a carton of milk and a phone number I would never call, and I realized the car from the corner was gone. Adrian had called his men off. Making a scene in front of a Vitale operative would confirm I was valuable enough to guard. He let me stand alone to prove I was worthless to him. I called him that night. Your men are gone. I know. The Vitale operative found my building. I know. A pause. If they see me protecting you, they'll never stop. The only way to keep you safe is to make them believe you're worthless to me. So you let him corner me to prove I don't matter. Yes. I understood what it cost him to say it. To leave me unprotected so I would survive. Thank you, I said. I meant it. The Rotterdam contract ended. I signed 2 more. Freelance work that paid on time and didn't ask questions. I learned to live on less. I learned to sleep through the night without checking the street first. I learned that solitude, when you choose it, stops feeling like loneliness. Don Vittorio Valenti summoned me a week later. An envelope with the Valenti crest. T. Thursday. 3 p.m. I went. The Valenti estate sat on the north edge of the city, iron gates, a long driveway, a mansion that looked like it had stood there before the city grew around it. A housekeeper led me to a study where Vittorio was reading a newspaper by the fire. He was older than I remembered. 70, maybe more. White hair, dark eyes, the kind of stillness that came from decades of being the most dangerous person in every room. Sit, he said. I sat. My son made you a promise he didn't keep. I apologize, though I know an apology doesn't change what was done. It doesn't. The Vitale situation has been handled. He folded his newspaper. Adrian made a deal with customs, information about Vitale smuggling routes. The operative who approached you was arrested yesterday. I didn't react. He stepped away from the family business, Vittorio said. 2 weeks ago he stood in front of the men who have served this family for 30 years and put his ring on my desk. There's a word for what that is. We don't say it out loud. Once you hand back the ring, you don't sit at this table again, not for a wedding, not for a funeral, not for anything. He told me he will not inherit, he will not take my name's protection, and he will not continue the arrangement that used you as a shield. I don't know if he deserves forgiveness. But he gave up the only thing that has ever made a Valenti feel safe, because it hurt you. That is not nothing. I found out the rest from a news article. 6 arrests across the Vitale network. The intelligence source was unnamed. The case was built on shipping manifests, financial records, and a chain of documents that led from Milan to the port of Rotterdam. I had translated some of those documents. I hadn't known what I was reading at the time. Adrian had been feeding information to federal authorities for weeks. He'd done it without telling his father, without telling his network, without telling anyone. He'd sacrificed the entire intelligence apparatus of his own family to neutralize the threat he'd created by marrying me. The article called it an unprecedented cooperation agreement. I called it what it was. Weeks passed. I stopped counting them. The cars stopped appearing on my street, and I stopped wondering whose orders had called it away. The Vitale case closed. The news moved on. I moved on, or I started to. He came to my apartment on a Thursday night. No car, no driver. He walked 3 miles from the last subway stop, in a coat I'd never seen before. I opened the door. "I'm not here to ask you to take me back," he said. "I've spent every day since the wedding becoming someone who wouldn't have to lie to you." The wind was cold. He was shivering. "Are you going to stand in my doorway all night? If that's where you want me." I stepped aside. He came inside. He sat on the edge of my second-hand couch with his hands on his knees, looking around the small room, the bookshelf I built myself, the lamp from a flea market, the mattress still on the floor that I hadn't replaced with a Real bed. "You did this alone," he said. "Yes. That's what I was afraid of." We sat across from each other. He told me about the meeting in his father's study, where he said the words out loud for the first time, "I won't inherit," and watched 3 generations of expectation leave his father's face like a light going out. "He didn't yell," Adrian said. "That was worse. He just asked me if I understood what I was giving up. The seat at the table. The protection. My name meaning something in rooms I'll never walk into again." He told me about the customs deal too, the calls he'd made without his father's knowledge, the network he handed to federal investigators piece by piece, knowing that if the wrong person traced it back to him first, walking away from the business wouldn't be a choice anymore. He told me he'd sold his apartment and given the money to a legal fund for trafficking victims. He didn't ask for anything. Not forgiveness. Not a second chance. When he left, I watched him walk down the street alone in an old coat, and he didn't look back. He came back the next Thursday. And the Thursday after that. A rhythm I hadn't agreed to but didn't stop. He never called first. He never stayed past midnight. He brought flowers once, then stopped when I didn't put them in water. He brought takeout another time, and we ate it on the floor because I still didn't have a table. I watched him learn the shape of my life, the tea I drank, the hour I turned the lights off, the way I left my books open on the windowsill. He didn't comment on any of it. He just noticed. That was what undid me, slowly. Not the words he said, but the fact that he was paying attention at all. We didn't talk about the wedding. We didn't talk about Sofia. We talked about translation contracts and bookshops and a construction noise on his street. Ordinary things. The kind of conversation you have with someone when you're learning to trust them again, one small sentence at a time. On the 4th Thursday, he didn't come. I found a letter under my door. My father had a stroke. I'd been at the hospital. I was on my way to your apartment when I got the call. I've been on my way to you for months. I'll keep walking until you tell me to stop. Don Vittorio Valenti died 6 days later. I went to the funeral. I stood at the back of the church, in a black dress I bought with my own money, and watched Adrian stand at his father's grave. After the service, he crossed the wet grass and stood in front of me. "You came." I came. He didn't ask why. He didn't thank me. He just stood there in the rain, letting me see him, the grief, the exhaustion, the cracked composure of a man who had lost everything he was raised to protect and was still standing. I stayed until the grave was covered. Then I walked back to my car, and he walked back to his father's house, and neither of us said goodbye. 3 months after the funeral, I finished my translation contract. The money was enough for my rent, my groceries, and a small savings account with only my name on it. I bought a table. A real one, with chairs. I looked at my apartment and saw something I'd never seen before, a life that was mine. That night, I found a receipt on my windowsill, from the bookshop downstairs, for a book I'd mentioned wanting months ago. No name. No note. He was sitting on the steps outside my building the next morning. 2 coffees. One of them was mine. "You're predictable," I said. "Trying something new." I took the coffee. I sat beside him. "I don't know if I can trust you," I said. "I know. I don't know if I want to." "I know that too. But I know I'm not the same woman who walked down that aisle. And I know you're not the same man who let me go." He didn't answer. "Come upstairs. I have a table now. Sofia sent me a letter from Barcelona. I'm not going to apologize," she wrote. "Not because I'm not sorry, but because you deserve more than words on paper. I was jealous of you long before Adrian. You were the one who stayed, who didn't have to leave to feel important. I wanted what you had because I didn't know how to want what I was. I'm in treatment now. I'm not the same person who stood up in that church. I hope, one day, you'll let me prove it." I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I didn't answer it. I wasn't ready. Maybe I never would be. Loving him again, even slowly, even entirely on my own terms, meant closing a door I used to walk through without knocking. I understood that now. Every choice costs something. This was mine to pay. He saw the table, the chairs, the map on the wall. He ran his fingers along the wood. "You built this. All of it. Without you. That's what I'm proudest of." I sat across from him. The table was small, 2 chairs, no room for distance between us. "I'm not going to marry you," I said. "I'm not going to move in with you, or combine my savings with yours, or pretend the last year didn't happen. But I'm going to keep letting you come to my door. And I'm going to see, over time, whether the man who carries my favorite book on a receipt is the same man who put a ring on my finger that was never meant for me." He reached across the table. Not to hold my hand, just to place his palm flat on the wood, an offering, "Open. I can wait." I put my hand next to his. Not on top. Beside. In the morning, I stood at my kitchen counter and held the spare key to my apartment. It was still sharp at the edges, freshly cut, not yet worn by use. A thing that opened a door I had paid for with money I earned myself. I didn't give it to him. I placed it on the counter, where the light from the window caught the brass, where he would see it the moment he walked in. He came that evening. I watched him step through the door, the same man who had stood at an altar and let another woman speak for him. But not the same. His hands were empty. His coat was the one he'd worn the night he walked through the rain from his father's grave. He saw the key on the counter. He didn't take it. He sat down at the table, and I poured him tea, and the key stayed between us, a small brass thing catching the light from the window, not yet his, not yet not his. A question I was asking without words. He didn't reach for it. But he didn't look away from it either. And that, for now, was enough. I learned that being chosen isn't the same as being seen. A man can choose you for what you protect him from, but he only earns you when he learns to see who you are without using you for cover. Would you have given him the key? If stories like this make your heart race, subscribe to Raven Vow.